Hello, new faces. It's good to see. Okay, well, I'm sure everybody saw. We have a very loose agenda for today. It's more of a hello. We'll do like a little bit of a status of where we are with point six stuff. You guys can test out stuff that we have yet to do, and then just some like I don't know. Do we have any demos? Evan, I guess you probably have. Oh wait, we do have demos this week. Yeah. Okay, well, then we'll do some demos. I forgot we had demos. Does anyone else have, outside of the Dioxus core, anyone have like an app they're working on or a demo of something cool that they've done recently? We'll add you to the demo queue. Oh, and then office hours. If you've not been here, office hours is a time for us to like do a little bit of status updates, a little bit of demos. People can show off their projects. So like a synchronous I made a thing. And then just like journal questions and help. One for like getting people contributing. Usually people have like a bug or a feature that they want, or they just want to be involved. And then also people have their own projects that they're trying to work through bugs and issues with. And then if there's something we are not paying attention to that is relevant to you, this is a great time to bring it up, and then have a good, quick little conversation about it. There is stuff I've forgotten about over the past couple months, and I keep getting pinged on GitHub about. So it's probably worth working on these things. That's usually what we use our ops hours for. And you can say hi to us. Also fun. Nice to meet. Well, the first thing we'll start with is kind of a funny thing. Where's my a post I made, which was not meant for public consumption, was released to the public for public consumption. Where is it? Yeah, I did release it publicly, which is not the intention. Um, yes, here you can look at it. Um, this did the rounds, so I don't know. I feel like it's probably worth like chatting about for a little bit, and then kind of some cool things that have come out of it. If you haven't seen this, it was a rant I made about Rust and like the features that it's missing for high level Rust adoption. Um, Evan worked on the thing called generational box, which is a very sick crate. Yeah, I'll show that also in the chat. Crates. It adds autoclone to Rust by kind of bad hacks, like kind of terrible things happening behind the scenes. But it's a very sick crate, and it kind of goes to show like, or gives you a feel for what Rust could look like if we had auto-cloned types. Um, there's like a big thing and a small thing. Like there's a ton of paper cuts in Rust. So in this Notion doc we talked about, there's like a ton of paper cuts in Rust. Um, but this is probably the biggest one that we were interested in solving. It's number one on the list in the Notion doc. So if you look at the Notion doc, we have a list of things. You scroll down a little bit. It's like stuff I have found, or I guess we as the team. I wrote this at first, and then we sort of like compiled it as a big group in the Netherlands or RustNL. Of like, what makes Rust a tough sell at the high level, like as a competitor to Python and competitor to JavaScript? Because we do apps, we want people to build apps in Rust. What does that even look like? So this doc came about it. I did a first draft, and then at the conference we refined it a little bit, and then it has made its way out into the world. And the first thing was the cheap automatic clones. So like why do clone type or why do copy types get this interesting behavior where you don't need to call copy on them or clone on them, but like other cheap to clone types don't get that behavior. And then sometimes a big copy, like sometimes a big object can be copy, like a big array of bytes is copy, and sometimes that's like unexpected and kind of dangerous. Like you're implicitly copying huge types around is not what you meant to do, but it just happens. Um, so there's this like schism, and Nico Matsakis actually wrote a blog post about this. I don't know. Does anyone have that small following? Right. Um, oh yeah, claiming auto and otherwise. which was this post. So he actually wrote a blog post about this. So we were able to chat with him at RustNL about this. About okay, of the things we want in Rust, this auto clone for signals basically is what we would use it for. I mean, we've been working around auto clone for ever since Dioxus came out. Like we just did lifetimes in the beginning, which is good in terms of leaning into the language, but also terrible in terms of programming. We really need autoclone. We've refactored everything to use this generational box theme, that big 0.5 upgrade, which is why Dioxus is so much easier to work with these days, is because of generational box, because of autoclone, and the semantics it gives you. So there is movement at the highest level of the Rust org to actually add this. So status update number 1, we are funding the work on autoclone, presuming it happens. All signs point to yes, unless there's some massive roadblock. Early next year, ideally it lands. I don't know if it will be stabilized that quickly, but an RFC and an implementation will happen by the end of this year. And I guess we pray that it gets stabilized, but we have the green light to get auto clone into Rust. Ideally, not requiring an addition upgrade. We don't want it to require an additional upgrade because it's a 3-year timeline, 4-year timeline from today. So like 2023, 2024 is today, like the 2023 edition, which means we'd have to wait another, what, 4 years for additions to land? 3 or 4 years? What's the timeline, Evan?
I think it's 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
It's like
4 years.
yours
It
seems
was
like an
a
odd
Rust
number.
2018, 2021. Yeah, 2024. They're stabilizing 2024. Yeah, so we wouldn't be able, if it required syntax change, we wouldn't be able to get it into this edition. I think they're feature frozen on syntax changes. And there's still design work that has to happen. If you read Nico's article, the next edition would kick in some lints or something. Oh, yeah, the dark reader. There's some lints that kick in. In 2024, we warn copies of value that copy not claim. In the next edition, 2027, we make it harder so that the rule is just tied to claim trade. It's again, this is all assuming this happens. We've had the green light to work on it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be stabilized or merged or in any form. But there is appetite from the Lang team, the core team, that Rust should be used in higher level domains, and this is one of those major paper cuts. So there you go. Agenda item 1, Rust is changing. We were part of that work. We will, I don't know if we're going to do the implementation. We all do hacky stuff, but we don't know that much about the compiler. So we'll probably be hiring or funding work, I guess, for someone to do that. Or someone will just volunteer to do it, and we're just going to do all the logistics of like RFC writing and stuff like that. So that's that big thing. I think that's a big deal, frankly. There's other stuff on there that we're working on, which will come in due times. Nico also wrote a blog post on partial borrows recently, which was cool, and all the other lifetime stuff. I don't know when that's going to land. There's a lot of stuff. There's some actually good videos and good Twitter discourse about the post. I would recommend people like look around and read. But oh, there's a follow-up on claim. Okay, I haven't read that yet.
Published today.
When did that come out? This morning. Oh gosh, okay. I need to read. Okay. All right. I gotta read through the article. Cool. Look at that. We got 2 articles. Actually, our discussions at Rust have resulted in 3 blog posts, which I think of 4, because Boats also published about it. So we got a lot of people talking about it. So I think there's good movement in making Rust better at the highest level. So all of you here today are at the ground floor of what Rust could be. So thank you for for suffering through the pain that is Rust and suffering through the pain that is major upgrades in Dioxus and breaking APIs and stuff as we sort of wrestled the language into a better place. Much appreciated. What else? Point 6 is coming up. Evan and I cannot seem to stop working on the same two PRs. They just will never end. um, we have let me put the PRs in the chat. We have suspense, which sounds like Evan got working last night, like proper suspense. I want to put you on the spot there.
Mostly working. Basic demos are working. Like swapping out data from the server before it loads in is not quite working, but I think I have a solution. So I'm hoping to like get most of it finished today and then do some testing tomorrow. But I've been hoping that for the last week. So we'll see.
Uh, yeah, that one's taken a while. And then the one I've been working on is still the same one. We've been adding more and more partial expansion to the macro, to the RSX. So autocomplete works everywhere. Hopefully there should not be an instance where autocomplete does not work. This PR is adding like way better hot reloading across the board. So you can actually edit the props of components, like literally values, like Rust values, like numbers, Boolean strings, formatted strings, if statements, stuff like that. But you can actually edit Rust code, like actual Rust code. This is not the final binary patching monster we're going to take on, but yeah, that's what that PR will allow. So these are the two things we've been stuck on. Miles has been carrying the team in many wondrous other ways. The deploy guides are currently on Notion, from what I understand. So any experience to add Dioxus full stack or Dioxus live view to Cloudflare Worker? It sounds like we've got full stack on Cloudflare. Is that a thing, Miles? Is that a guide we have? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we
Not
don't
yet.
have. I don't think we have. Yeah, that requires a WASM build, right? Evan, do we do WASM full stack?
Yeah, WASM full stack does work. You need an adapter that takes your Axum router and makes it work on full stack. But I think it should just work. We don't have like a template for it. Cloudflare workers have like their own routing thing, but it should be
Hmm.
possible.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of things that like should be possible that Miles is figuring out and making a reality. Yeah, this is sick. This is sick. I wish we had a better workflow of getting from Notion onto the website. Some sort of a tool, like literally, I just dropped the Markdown into a Markdown to HTML converter, and then like fix the HTML and put that on the website. Um, Sorry, Miles. Okay, and then there's the other thing Miles is working on is the is that ours? That's yours, Evan. Like that's or is that us?
The assets is mostly Miles. He's been working on
Or
finishing
sorry,
that up.
yeah, okay. Dioxus owns the repo. I always forget. It was you. There's this really cool PR. I don't know if anyone's been following along in our internals channel. Usually, there's good discussions in internals about things. Good discussions in internals. It's fun to keep it public, so people are like clued in on what happens. But we are using, if you are not aware of what a linker is, when your Rust code is compiled, it's compiled into pieces. Like the different pieces are compiled individually. So that your dependencies are one of those pieces. Your app is actually fragmented into this tree of different disconnected pieces that can be compiled in smaller units. And then at the end, this like linker program takes all of these pieces and puts them together into a final binary. To date, Manganese has actually what do we do? We like write to the file system from macros.
Yeah, we wrote to the file system, but it turns out that doesn't work very well if you remove the last macro. So we have no way of knowing that you removed a macro. So you have to switch to the linker instead.
Yeah, and also just abusing macros like that is a terrible thing to do. uh, yeah. So the new system is based on this like linker thing, where we actually read the intermediate object files and then pull out the assets you've defined, which is actually very robust too. So it works in more lockdown environments, and it allows us actually way more flexibility. I think like right? Because we can pull in just an object file without the source, and we have I don't know. There's stuff this lets it do, but this is very cool. Uh, I'd say I think 2 days ago, Miles, you didn't know anything about the linker stuff, and now we have this.
Pretty much.
Did you learn anything while working on this?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you might have enough knowledge now to do the simple binary patching. I would love to see it working for Windows. We might be able to like parallelize.
Yeah.
Start linker intercepts. Yeah, we're gonna need some more of that linker interception stuff in the main grade at some point. But I think this means manganese is like pretty close to just like stable, not stable, but like maturity ish.
Yeah, I think this fixes like all the bugs we have with manganese. And then the API is, I don't know, I think it's okay with the macro. It's really nice being able to just like link to a local file on the web and then it gets hoisted up automatically and served,
Mm-hmm.
which is what it should have done
Yeah,
all along, but there's just been bugs that have made it difficult to use so far.
it'd be possible to supplement the documentation with these examples of like, oh, like the Zola. What do you mean, Vlad? The like the getting started guide from Zola, like something like that for Dioxus, or the something about manganese for like the asset system. Okay, well, never mind. I assumed yes, we can add it, but if we'll figure out what you meant, but yeah, I'm sure we can add. Ah, okay. Do people use SourceHut? Oh, you're saying this is where Zola can go. That's right. For Fly, someone has done Vercel. We have GitHub pages for sure. I'm gonna put the other ones. History bucket, Docker image. We have a Docker image going. Docker image and Fly are very similar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Docker's a vibe. Yeah. As far as the ATSA stuff go, we had kind of just like a general question. I think it's good to get feedback here. If you put, I put this thing in the chat. If you put image, like source image at ping, what do you expect? Like, do you expect on the web for this to be local to the root? Do you expect this to where do you think this image.png should be coming from? Like the file system? Is this a compile time thing? Uh, Evan and I couldn't really figure it out, so we were just like, well, maybe image source is like the MG or like asset image.png. That way, like there's a processing step. Um, right now it's like we wanted it to be implicit, but we decided against it. But it's kind of noisy, right? You have to be like you have to use the macro to include the image. Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we landed on too.
The main thing for the macro was like if the source is separate, we can't like inspect it with a macro. So we either like have to not accept this or interpret it differently. Should also be weird, but I'm not sure how often people pull out like just static strings or dynamic paths.
We went through a bunch of API designs, right? Like image. We don't really have macro elements. We're probably not going to add macro elements. Oh yeah, we went through that. Yeah. Yep, bruh is one reaction. Uh, wait, hold on. The syntax got crazier. You guys are not aware. There's an at source and a dollar sign. Good. And she did. There's image just find it, please. Oh, I mean, we were
Yeah,
thinking of like special attributes. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, special attributes, but I don't know. Like, okay, does that make it to the DOM or not? And you probably want it to make it to the DOM. Okay, all right. I think that solves that. Sticking with the macro. Um, you can't. Can you just make it accept? No, accept that?
yeah, we don't accept variables in assets, like in the asset macro. It's just a little bit more weird if you don't know it's a macro for the image tag. Yeah, that was one of the things like with the different attribute names is if it's differing a lot from the HTML syntax, then like copy pasting doesn't work. So maybe it being like an attribute doesn't help very much. And then all the other attributes are kind of transparent where they pass into the DOM directly.
Yeah, there's no attributes we special case during template construction, right? Everything is just passed to the DOM. We only did that like namespacing thing for style attributes.
Yeah.
Arguably, we shouldn't do that. Uh, I thought it was cute, but arguably we shouldn't do it. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
how
makes a
people
lot
feel
of
about this.
special casing in like the SSR render and stuff for styles.
Yeah, this is technically a namespaced attribute. Where like what this translates to is style. Like it translates to this object. And I'm putting it in the chat. Or I don't know, maybe this is easier if I. Are people aware that this translates into this object? Background color. Like is that clear to people? I don't know. It's been there since the beginning. Okay. Yeah, actually, you can pass objects to style. It's like a object style object. I mean, it's technically a string, but you interact with the DOM element via an object. Now there's an object. There's a style HTML. And it has a ton of properties. It's this dot style thing. Who would have thought? Okay, all right. I think that's that for that. Is there any other updates since last office hours in terms of like bugs and features that have been fixed / merged? No.
There's a couple small bug fixes, but I don't think anything that was blocking a lot of people.
Um, Here my 0.6 is public as well. I always like making the roadmaps public. So this is kind of what's going on for 0.6. I've refactored it from a checklist of to-dos to in progress status, like a little board. Um, we're open source, but I don't always like throwing everything in GitHub because it's a slower interface. So yeah, you get a lot of our notions, but most things are public. There's a bunch of stuff that's in review, which I take responsibility for not having reviewed yet. Some stuff that's close to done. We're almost ready to put Blitz/Dioxus native out into the world, which is pretty sick. We'll probably do that off cycle, so that we'll release Blitz and then we'll have 0.6, which releases native, or the other way around, whatever comes first. 0.6 is probably mid-July, like the first RC that goes out, and then end of July is like the release. Yeah. Seeing what's on the list, I think that makes sense, and that also gives us time for the native release. So hopefully you guys play with native before it's out. It should be in the pre-release. Like we'll do Blitz first, and then we'll do the native as the pre-release. What else? What else? We're gonna do the extensions. Whenever you're done with this PR, Evan, let's switch to extensions. And then there's a Dioxus 0.7. Okay. No. Well, 0.7 will be the bundle splitting, the WASM-based bundle splitting, the native Rust hot reloading, like those binary patching stuff. And then we will own the mobile tooling. So those are the big three things for that next release. It supports hot reloading. Just added like 2 days ago. And access kits. That's in review. It hasn't been merged, but yeah, we did switch to Winit support. So what we're gonna do is use like if you're aware of Xylem, like the Xylem project, they have the stack that Xylem is built on of some of those pieces we share. So Vela, why is Tau? Has Tau made you annoyed? We use a thing like called Vela, which is built by the same people who built the rest of it. And they have some text input widgets that have IME, which is like enter Chinese characters and emojis and like all proper text input. So we're probably going to use their like text widgets and stuff like that for Blitz slash Dioxus native. So that also means we can support access kit now because we switched to Winit. I love Tau. What is Tau missing? I've enjoyed playing with Tau for the past couple months. Yeah. I keep saying it's easy and then I don't work on it. Maybe Miles, maybe you want to fix it. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get the desire to fix. It's just the watcher. The watcher just needs to propagate all CSS, not just like just have to remove the filter. I'm pretty sure the PR will be like a negative diff. It's a yeah, Miles. Maybe if you have some time.
Yeah, I thought I was already planning to do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was worried. I told you not to do it. That's okay. Yes, we should prioritize that, and then we can prioritize getting the next version of things out, so the fix is in there. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Dioxus 0.7, native Rust hot reloading, WASM-based bundle splitting, and then the mobile tooling. And then I think, and then a ton of videos, tutorials, guides, documentation. Maybe we'll pay a designer to improve our website. Is the look and feel of it. Reorganize the docs. I think we're probably going to get rid of actually a big chunk of our docs because they're not helpful, and then replace it with more helpful things. Like the reference just kind of sucks. It's just not that helpful. So we'll need people's input when we go to rewrite docs soon. Idea being 0.6 is a like Q2 release, like end of Q2 release, like early July, like mid July, late June. Well, late June. We got 4 days left in June. Late July, and then 0.7 is like a end of Q3 release, so it'll be more like a September, I guess September, like late September, early October type release. Oh, but come October, we should have everything we would ever want. The binary patching, multi-platform, we got full stack. Um, we have all the asset system, we have the bundler, we have mobile tooling in line. You shouldn't have to like control C your app anymore. Like you should just be able to edit it while you're working on it. You shouldn't have to like cancel and reload to fix things. It should just work. So you should be able to work for like 2 or 3 hours on an app without having to disable any tooling or go fix any quirks with Dioxus related stuff. So the tooling's just going to get better from here on out. Dioxus merch. Oh god. I've been getting inspiration. I yeah.
I have leftovers merch already.
No. Some nice hoodies. Honestly, this is a thing. Maybe I can Fiverr. I go pay someone on Fiverr to make us some good merch. Actually kind of want a designer to come in and freshen up our stuff. We probably can't just use the DNA. Like it does look a little familiar too. This is GIF. It does does look a little similar to Nintendo's like the Pokemon. And well, I want to pay homage to the Pokemon. We probably can't just use a Pokemon as our branding. Um, we might get a new spiffy branding before our big .7. But yes, we'll make shirts. We'll make shirts and stickers and water bottles. I think those are the 3 obligatory things you're supposed to make as a startup. And then everyone will get a shirt. Everyone who's stuck with us for this long, we'll get some good merch. We'll ship it to Europe and the Netherlands. I think that's it for talking about 0.6, 0.7 features, stats, updates. I think now is just like hang out. Anyone's got questions or things they want to contribute to, stuff that's been on their mind, bugs. Evan, Miles, if you guys have anything you want to add.
I do. I think we want to do some basic polls. Uh, I think
Oh,
most.
yes.
Yeah. I think the really the big one I want to ask today to everyone here is there any specific pitfall or issue you've ran into in Dioxus that you would want fixed? I know we have a lot with like the mansionese and all that, but I'm really curious to hear if there's anything that we might have missed.
Come on, Mark, you can dig hard. Think. Is there a way to make a poll?
Yeah.
Uh,
It does
do you
not.
guys just like want to list them in the chat? Or just like make a big list of stuff that you've run into? Because we see it from like a different lens, right? Or the poll work. Or maybe we can make some categories. I don't know. I'll let you make the poll, but I'm like assets, management,
I think it'd
docs.
be good to have like a polls channel to just post them in, and people can vote.
I think it'd be good with the next release to like while their eyes on everything, or like use that as a funnel into the polls. You configure a poll to let you choose multiple things, or is it just a one?
You can choose multiple. Not on that poll, but
Would it be better if deployment was automated, or if deployment just had better instructions, or somewhere on that spectrum? Like DX deploy versus you read the guide versus we have nothing and you figure it out. AI cryptolized. That's like two big buzzwords. Oh, is that the like the SQL X thing? There's like using SQL X with the access. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure if I put that like under state management, but there's a lot of boilerplate to get that integrated. I've been looking at different launch APIs for full stack so that it's more configurable. So right now it's difficult to like pass in state in the published version. I think that's fixed in the Git version. You could just pass in context and it passes it through to server functions. So it should be a lot easier. We don't have any simple examples using databases, but that's something I'd like to work on in 0.6.
Mm. Bye, Mark. I think with the next release, we'll probably do some more polls and stuff. We have a Google form with a bunch of results. state management is the best thing of Dioxus. We're still not gonna stop working on that. It'll get better. Everything gets better. Cool. Is there anything else left you guys want to talk about? We don't have like people are leaving, so we don't have a huge, and we don't have that much left on the agenda. So if there's anything you guys have left. Tailwind will come soon. Android will take a moment as we transition. That's the focus of like the next release, the tooling. Unfortunately, mobile is it's a huge project in itself, but the Tailwind stuff will come soon enough. Cool. I'll wait for Andrew, but if there's nothing left, we'll probably end early today. Yeah, Tailwind, hot reloading. We have so there's formatted strings, and then component props, and then bodies of everything. Components, for loops, chains. These are the things that are getting big hot reloading upgrades in the next version, and then after that, all Rust code. Yeah, and that will be via the binary patching stuff. But what's coming in 0.6? Oh, and then what bugs to fix? Oh, okay, well, if that's it, I'll let you guys go. Don't want to hold anyone too much longer. Thank you for coming. It is nice to go get some free time. All right. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks with the next one. Hope maybe we'll get the RC out by then. Or yeah, I think it'd be nice to be able to get an RC out by then, even if we don't have all the features in it, but the RC out. Okay. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.